Yeah, she cries more. Billy Idol.
I know there's
It's one of those songs.
Billy Idol.
You go way back and it just more. She cries more. We cry for more wins from the Sarnia Sting. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Progressive Auto Sales Arena here tonight. The part deux of the Sarnia Sting against the Windsor Spitfires.
Absolutely.
Did you catch any of that game at all? Were you able to do that? Or?
You know what? I didn't. I got the updates on my phone because I got the app, the OHL app, that just kind of sends me updates. And
3-1.
I saw that.
Calvin Martin with the only goal for the Sarnia Sting.
And I think that's disappointing because, truthfully, Windsor's been, what we could pretty much say beleaguered this year. So, but hey, maybe they needed that win more than we did. I don't know.
Well, but you look at the standings. The Sarnia Sting and Windsor almost tied together there. We're about 3 points ahead of them, I think.
We are ahead of them. So you know what? I don't know. I understand the late in the season jockeying for a playoff position, but you know what? Why you're not trying to just go out there and win games? I don't get that.
Come on.
No, you know what? We can afford to let this one fly.
Well, but I don't think that's happening.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
That's
I've used that to explain why we didn't do so well.
That's a heavy accusation you're making there, Peckham.
I get you. I understand. It tastes like vinegar coming out of my mouth. I get you.
Yeah, well, here we are coming into the, I guess this is the final week of regular season, right?
Yep.
So then we go into playoffs, and it's, we've been talking about a lot of things over this season about the Sarnia Sting.
Sure we have.
I've been calling them the stock market players.
Yeah.
Because it goes like this, up and down.
Bull and bear, baby.
Hasn't been any consistency, really.
Yeah.
But we're seeing some growth, though, I do think, in the Sarnia Sting with these new players. Maybe growth as far as, maybe not as much growth as for winning games, but I think from some of the players that we've seen at the beginning to where we are now, we certainly see growth. Let's just talk about the goalies, Langevin and Lamour.
Yep.
When they first came along, we've definitely seen growth there in these goalies.
Absolutely. I think both of them they've put on clinics, but then you're right, consistency is something that comes with experience, and clearly they both need a little bit more consistency for sure. But on any given day, either one of them, they're perfectly capable of stealing a game for us, So we've seen some outstanding performance. We have, absolutely. I think, if we look at it, we have kind of talked about it off and on over the course of the year. When we start getting into troubles with injury and things like that, and seeing the line shift and stuff. But the one thing we got to say too is that it's still a fairly young team.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Ethan Langevin's only 16, 17 years old at most right now.
Yep.
And he's been put in a really prominent position. But the rest of our players, this is a young team. Mm-hmm. This is a team that really hasn't played together other than this season for the most part. And unlike some of the other teams where we have real sort of dynasty type teams. Right. You know what I mean? Like the London Knights, they'll go and for 4 or 5 years they're going to play a dynasty. They've got
So what happens there then? What happens there compared to any other team?
You know what? If I knew that, I would not be standing here with you. I'd be standing behind the bench, is what I'd be doing.
If you knew that, would you even tell me?
I don't know. I might be restricted in telling you things like that. But you know what? How do they do it? I don't. You know what? I don't know. I don't know what the proper chemistry is.
Right.
To make a Mem Cup worthy team. I don't know that.
We've seen some things that changed though from that were probably frustrating for the Sarnia Sting along the way. And Jamison Reese was injured for quite some time.
Yep.
And didn't come back until I think the last game before Christmas.
And he comes back like a brush fire. It's amazing.
We didn't necessarily see anything right away as far as goals went. But then when he did, he's definitely out there noticeable on the arena.
100%.
And then Ryan McGregor was off for a little while.
Yep.
And what happens there with these two individuals, I think we talk about leadership on a team.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. absolutely.
when the captain is injured and gone, yeah, he may be able to still be around, but
it's a struggle.
Others have to step into the leadership roles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's another thing when you talk about having a, on average, we're a young team.
Yeah.
We got young guys that they don't know what that leadership role entails yet. So they might be a little more reluctant to step up. But in another year, some of these guys are going to be real leaders for us, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with some of the younger talent, and we're going to see a good chunk of our team back next year.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we want to see. Is we want to see those qualified guys get a little more experience, come back with some experience and some skills and abilities, and then we give them some hot new talent that they can kind of bring into the fold. But we need about 2 or 3. We've had such, traditionally the Sting have gone where, we'd have one, really great player, and this fringe of people kind of helping them out. But then when we lose that player, it's this giant void that's created because we haven't really built up a strong team thing. So we,
is there depth on this team?
Stamkos to, when we had Stamkos and Yakupov, Galchenyuk, and it's that successive series of, sort of these wonderfully gifted players, but then not enough team around them to continue, so that when they go early to the big show, we get stuck with not having the kind of dynasties we want.
Well, there's certainly lack of some experience there as far as the players go because of the age, right? But is there, last year we talked a lot about depth on the Sarnia Sting. There was a lot of great depth. Is there depth on this team?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I do believe that. I think, we've got some defensemen that are really going to shine when, now that they're getting those opportunities. And you got to put in a little bit of time, and you might have to have a rough season before things really start to click and stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Well, when there's players being traded away and then new players coming in, I think there's something we said for figuring out that synergy between players. You have to be able to gel and figure each other out.
And the problem is typically, right, so we haven't had those marquee players rolling over from year to year. We only had Stammer for a year and a half. We only had Galchenyuk for 2. We only, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't play a full season, or like full career, in OHL career with us. And so, you take that, and then you add to that we get mid-season, we start struggling with some not penalties, but injuries and things like that. And then, so now we're having to bring up, we got a lot of we've used a lot of call-ups over the last.
Well, I was going to say something could happen too, but it happens on a lot of teams. Get called up. I think about 2 years ago, 3 guys got called up and never came back. And that's just frustrating when a coach and the coaching staff works together.
We're calling up
from
our feeder teams like the Legionnaires and stuff like that, and we got a lot of really young guys getting a chance to sort of play. But as much as they may be awesome, it's still really, it doesn't add that stability, that experience gives us a consistency. And I think it's been a few years since we've seen that. Now, hopefully with, a good chunk of some fairly quality talent coming back next year, I'm really looking forward to next year. We had a couple of hot new guys. Hopefully a couple of our OAs will stick around and provide some real leadership for us.
Right.
I think it's going to be good. See, I got fans.
You got more fans.
I got more fans.
You pay people, don't you?
Maybe.
We're getting ready for the starting lineup. Sarnia Sting getting ready to come out. We'll keep going. Cameron Lemoore is starting in between the pipes tonight, who has done quite well for the Sting. I think there were some times we saw him in the net, I think particularly against Ottawa, the number 1 team, and we were like, why are they doing that? Right? Yeah. Alexander Hogue, nice to see him in a starting lineup. We've seen some things from him. Colton Kammerer, they're saying is also out there.
Yeah, he's another guy. He's another strong young defenseman. I think I really like the way he's stepped up to the plate this season.
Justin McComb's out there. Nice to see him. Calvin Martin, who, of course, got the goal. He's been fantastic for the Sarnia Sting.
He's been wonderful recently, yeah.
Jamison Reese, of course, will be out there as well.
He's my my superstar pick this year. I mean, nothing against the rest of the guys. I mean, I've always been a fan of Ryan McGregor and Franco.
Franco, my favorite.
I get you.
But my other and I don't think I've ever really said this, but my other favorite really is Hugo Lavinius.
Yeah.
And I've been able to say his name properly because I've had to say it so many times. Because he's gotten, I think he's at 31 goals right now.
I'm a Sean Jostling fan too. I want to tell
you know. There are some favorites when they get together on the lines. This is an interesting lineup here tonight. It's not something normal we've seen for a starting lineup, but they are here. And we're ready to wrap things up here as the opening ceremonies and puck drop are going to happen. And Jay and I will be back. Well, Jake Tursky will be back for first period, and then Jay Peckham's going to come back. And,
unless you can find somebody better,
hopefully,
but that's okay.
I probably could. Well, if you're going to keep putting it out there like
whatever.
All right, Sarnia Sting hosting the Windsor Spitfires. And then coming up on Family Day, the Saginaw will be here in the house, a 2 o'clock in the afternoon game. Yep. And keep an eye on the Facebook page. I'll have 4 tickets to give away for you to come here and watch the Sarnia Sting on Family Day. It should be packed here.
In the box with you upstairs?
Absolutely not.
All the free beers and stuff?
Right. Yeah. Because that's what I do when I'm up there.
Right.
All right, we're going to wrap things up here. Keep following us everywhere, and we'll be back first period. He's really, I don't know, sometimes, Jay Peckham.
Close us out, buddy. Here we go. Outro number 1.
I don't even know if I'm going to say your name. For the show live on location, on behalf of the Video Show Network, I'm David Burrows. My friend Jay Peckham.
Go!
We'll talk to you soon.